Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you my honest reaction to the brand new series This Is Going to Hurt, based on the book of the same name by Adam Kay. The series is on BBC iPlayer right now if you wanted to check it out, and it features none other than Q from James Bond. So let's get into the first episode.
This is Obs and Guiney, also known as Brats and Twats. You're generally sailing the ship alone. A ship that's massive and on fire and no one's had the time to teach you how to sail. It's literally life or death here. And you're constantly being splashed by bodily fluids. Not even the fun kind. But
what other doctors can say they end up with twice the number of patients they started with?
beat that geriatrics.
As you can see, lots of blood already, but it's a really good introduction to the show. So the main character is a registrar, which is equivalent to a senior resident in the USA. And I've personally never heard of Obs and Guiney referred to as that, but maybe I missed a joke in med school. But he is absolutely accurate about the description. It really does feel like that when you're doing an on-call shift. It constantly feels like you're firefighting. And as for the vending machine with the scrubs, they definitely did not have that in any of the hospitals I've worked in.
Non-specific symptoms, sudden loss of
Okay, everybody, back to your jobs. You don't need the polyphonic spree. Oh, shoo.
Oh, come on.
Not you.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Right, surprise me. What's the management?
Right, okay, well, I would check for a patent airway, then I would put her in the left lateral position, run high oxygen flow through a non-rebreather mask, check for a pulse.
So near and yet so shit. So when people are really unconscious, their hands smash into their faces.
So in this scene there's the SHO, who is a doctor in their first few years of training. She's obviously very nervous, and anytime you hear the alarm go off, the adrenaline definitely starts to get pumping, so I'm not surprised. And to be fair, I think she actually does a good job of talking through the immediate assessment of someone who's been unconscious. We call this the ABCDE approach, and she's talking through all the steps, but the thing that Adam has realised is that the patient's faking it, and I definitely remember learning about this little trick if someone is pretending to be unconscious. As for why they might do this, your guess is as good as mine, but it honestly does happen.
Better do an incident form.
How are we doing here, then?
All under control, Mr. Lockhart.
Miracles never cease.
I thought I told you to discharge that gynae patient.
I see the miracles have ceased.
No, but she's not even...
Are my team causing you trouble, Ms. Mendoza?
We're full on labour ward, postnates, antenates, gynae. I don't know how we're supposed to admit anyone from A&E. We've been on red alert all day, and we're practically at black alert.
Burgundy alert, then. I'm sure we can do something about that for you, can't we, Dr. Kay?
Yeah, we could pull out the patient's drips and chuck her out the window.
I knew you'd think of something. Leave it with us.
Can I help at all?
You could pop down to the coffee shop. There's a vacancy for a barista.
Shruti did her first forceps delivery earlier.
Yeah, she had been in second stage for over an hour. And
Very good. Walk with me, Adam.
The instant form thing is a running joke in this episode, and if you've ever worked in healthcare, you'll understand why. It's the bane of your existence, but you have to fill these in for anything that goes wrong or if any errors are made. The idea is that you learn from your mistakes, but it's such a pain that no one really enjoys doing these kinds of things. As for the bit about discharging patients, that is just so accurate as well. I mean, the thing about working in healthcare is that there are always more patients to come, and doctors constantly face pressure from non-clinical staff to free up beds. This is a really good idea on paper, but you're often stuck in a really difficult position when you feel pressured to send someone home who you don't feel is safe to go home. Now let's look at the awkward and frankly condescending interaction between the consultant, registrar and SHO. Fortunately, I've not been on the bad side of this because I've been lucky enough to work with supportive and kind seniors. But I know that this kind of thing does still happen, and it really shouldn't. We know that critical, negative feedback like this is not helpful, and it leads to even worse morale among staff. It's this kind of behaviour that leads to doctors leaving the profession, alongside all the stress of the job itself.
So, what's the problem?
Well, I woke up this morning with a headache And my tongue is just like totally covered in spots.
Right, let's have a look. Okay. I'm afraid that what you have is known as taste buds. So, is there someone at home we can call to come and collect you, or?
Yeah, I've definitely had more than one patient ask me about their normal tongue. We call these small lumps towards the back of the tongue papillae, and everyone has these. It also reminded me of the time when a patient was worried about a lump on their neck, which turned out to be their spine. But the really important point that is in this scene is that patients often give you a really important symptom and something completely not important. The headache here being a sign of preeclampsia, which is very serious. But obviously here, Adam focused on the tongue, and he missed out on this early sign of preeclampsia.
They're good?
I was worried you'd say that. It's all bad, I'm afraid. Rewards are stuff to the girls, there's no SHO, and the midwife in charge is Tracy.
Well, she was working during the day.
The other one, non-reassuring Trace. Right, I'm off home, but call me whenever.
I won't.
Good man.
Yeah, another all too real example of working a night shift in the NHS. Not only has he been asked back in last minute to cover someone else being off sick, but they're missing other stuff on what is already limited cover overnight. To be honest, I think it's stuff like this that they don't tend to show on other TV shows about doctors, but this is the reality of it, and just the thought of it brings back the stress. So that's my review of the first episode, and I have to admit that this is the most accurate representation of what it's like to be a doctor. It really gets the vibe of the NHS with all the grotty corridors and grim lighting, but it was also really good at showing how stressful the job can be, and the dramatic change in emotions that we have to deal with all the time. We can literally see one patient who has absolutely nothing wrong with them and is just anxious about something that isn't even a problem. The next minute, you can be dealing with someone who is seriously unwell. We don't exactly get a time out. It's emotionally taxing. In fact, after speaking to lots of colleagues who are also doctors, this all felt a bit too realistic in many ways. Working as a doctor on a busy night shift which is understaffed can be absolutely awful. And I know a lot of doctors who couldn't bear to continue watching this because it was such a stark reminder of this. As for the series as a whole, I definitely would recommend watching it if you want a real taster of what life is like as a doctor, without all the sensational storylines of something like Grey's Anatomy and more of a dry sense of humour than a show like Scrubs. But if you're pregnant, you might want to wait until after you've given birth, because it might be a bit scary for you to watch. And I think that just about wraps things up. If you'd like to see my reaction to the TV show Dr. Foster, check out this video. And if you'd like to see how much a junior doctor earns, check out this video. And I will see you next time. See ya!